Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to be talking about the World Beyond season finale's post-credit scene and how it might impact the rest of the Walking Dead universe. This video will contain spoilers from both Fear the Walking Dead and the World Beyond, so please do keep that in mind. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. The World Beyond's post-credit scene is set in France in an abandoned laboratory, and we see this female scientist watching a video of Dr. Jenner on like a tablet or a PC or something, and it's the same Dr. Jenner who appeared in season 1 of The Walking Dead. It's apparent that the video clip of Dr. Jenner was recorded before Rick met him at the CDC because he mentions how his wife, the other Dr. Jenner, is helping him out, and obviously when Rick met him in season 1 his wife was already dead. I think having this scene set in France is a nice little callback to season 1 of The Walking Dead because I remember Dr. Jenner saying that France was the last place he lost contact with, so it's nice that the scene's set in France, and it's nice that the video clip that has been recorded of him is a video clip of him talking to a French scientist and him having a conversation with them. So yeah, I like that. It was a nice little Easter egg. Anyway, Jenner recites a lot of science mumbo jumbo, but I think the most important takeaway from what he says is that he mentions different variants, and he says in the video, oh, we haven't seen any of the other variants that you have in the US, implying that there's some other type of walker or some other type of disease in France and potentially elsewhere around the world. Long story short, what happens next is that a dude enters the room and we see his shadow at first, and he's like holding out a gun which looked like a revolver. So at first I'm thinking, oh my god, it's Rick Grimes, but unfortunately it's not Rick, it's just some random French dude. And he says to the scientist, he says, oh, this is all your fault, everything is your fault, and you all deserve to die, and words to that effect. And then he shoots her and walks out of the room. What happens next is that the scientist reanimates pretty damn quickly. I mean, normally walkers reanimate, it takes them minutes to hours, but she just literally comes back to life and she sprints to the door. She sprints to like the door, and it's like this metal shutter that's been pulled down, and she's banging at the metal door whilst doing like this high-pitched scream, and she manages to like indent the door. You can see like where her fist went into it, so obviously she's damaged the door, like this metal shutter. And what this means is that the rules have now changed. We now have faster and stronger walkers in the Walking Dead universe. We now have different walker variants all around the world, and who knows what other types of walkers there are. I mean, it looks like the US have been playing on easy mode the entire time. They've just had these slow dumb walkers, where France have had to deal with these crazy, powerful, fast walkers. This post-credit scene, it really shocked me because I was expecting, maybe a reference to Rick, maybe something setting up the movies, but not in a million years did I expect to see Dr. Jenner back. I mean, especially seeing as his presence on The Walking Dead was so controversial in the first place. It's just really bizarre because after season 1 of The Walking Dead, Darabont left, or I think he was sacked or whatever, and then, the walkers were done. And the show never concerned itself with science or anything like that again. And if it did, it was just to troll the audience. I mean, when we had Eugene saying, I'm a scientist, but he wasn't actually a scientist. And then we had, the Whisperers, the walkers are evolving, but they're not actually evolving. And the show made it clear that it didn't give a shit, that it didn't want to have new types of walkers. It didn't want to, focus on finding a cure or seeing what the scientists are doing. That wasn't its priority. 10 years later, here we are. Here we are back to what was happening in season 1 with walkers being intelligent, and back to, Darabont's original vision, which is really fucking bizarre. Not something I expected at all. As for my personal feelings about the end credits scene, I'm kind of in two minds because on one hand, the idea of a Walking Dead show in Europe with fast zombies, with scarier zombies, more powerful zombies, quicker zombies, have I said that twice? I don't know. But the idea of that kind of show, I'm not going to lie, it's intriguing to me. I've been watching Kingdom lately on Netflix, and I keep talking about that show. I really need to do a video on that show, but I've been watching that lately on Netflix, and the zombies in that show, as soon as you die, as soon as you're bitten, you like turn instantly. And they're so fast, they're powerful, and they're fucking scary in that show. They're really scary. You see them charging in a massive group over the hill, and you're like, fuck me, this is scary shit, right? And I think that would be good. I would like seeing that in the Walking Dead universe, scarier zombies. That would appeal to me. But then on the other hand, the cynic in me kind of feels like this is just a last-ditch attempt by AMC to keep people watching The Walking Dead. You've got to stay subscribed to AMC Plus because now we've got new walkers. We're changing things up. You've got to watch our spin-off shows now because we've got new walkers. You've got to keep watching. Don't ever stop watching The Walking Dead. I don't know. Part of me just thinks that the AMC don't want The Walking Dead to end. It's obvious they don't want it to end because they keep announcing spin-off shows, even though, its popularity is nowhere near where it was a long time ago. And it seems like this is a kind of an attempt by them to pull in new viewers and say, look, come on, look at our show, there's stuff happening, they've got different zombies, and to pull in viewers who may have left. You want to watch The Walking Dead now though because things are changing, and to keep people watching, I don't know, I'm a cynical person anyway, but yeah, I still can't really make my mind up about it, as to how I feel about this revelation. So what does this mean for the rest of the Walking Dead universe then? Well, obviously different types of walkers exist, and maybe this explains why the Civic Republic in the world beyond, why they were so desperate to wipe out walkers, and why they're so desperate to find a way to stop reanimation. Because, if it comes to the point where America has to deal with these fast walkers, these more powerful walkers, they need a way to combat that, and they need a way to save the world. So perhaps that was the reason as to all their experiments. You still can't defend killing hundreds of thousands of people, but maybe that's why they think that is a necessary step they have to take in finding a way to stop these walkers that maybe will be coming for them in the future. I've seen some people online say that this kind of retcons season 1 of The Walking Dead now, and that explains why walkers were intelligent then, but I don't know, I don't agree with this, because in this very same clip, Jenna says he's never seen these variants, and it doesn't make sense to me that the characters would encounter these intelligent walkers in season 1, but then never see them again. I mean, if they were there in the US, surely they would see them more often, So I don't believe that. I still think that was just something that's going to be ignored personally in season 1 of The Walking Dead. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they will come out and retcon it, but yeah, I don't think that makes much sense, because I think if the variant walkers were already there in the US, then we would have seen more of them by now. As well as being stronger and faster, the walker in a post-credit scene does seem to be more intelligent, in my opinion anyway, because, when a walker reanimates, if a normal walker reanimated in that room, they would just be stumbling around, right? They'd be stumbling around, being attracted to some light or, a noise, and just be walking around. They wouldn't be running straight to the door. It was almost like this walker knew that person killed her and she wanted revenge, and that's why she sprinted to the door. I may be reading this incorrectly, I may be wrong about this, but to me, it did seem like there was a level of intelligence there, because otherwise the walker would just be stumbling around aimlessly until someone walked in or until there was a noise or whatever. They wouldn't just be, going straight for the person who killed them. And if indeed these walker variants are more intelligent, then this raises all kind of questions. Do they know what's happening? Do they retain memories? Do they know what's going on? Can they be cured? And maybe this might even tie into Fear the Walking Dead. In Fear the Walking Dead Season 7 Episode 8, Alicia tries to follow a walker to a location. She believes that this walker will direct her to this safe haven called Padre, which, on first viewing, is nonsense, right? Why would a walker know where to go? It doesn't make any sense. And Alicia has never believed in any of this before. It just comes out of the blue. But then again, Alicia has been missing for half a season prior to this episode, and maybe during that time she came across some evidence, something that made her think otherwise and made her think that walkers were intelligent. Maybe in Teddy's bunker she came across a variant, or she came across, a document detailing walker variants explaining that they do have intelligence, or she saw video proof, or who knows, maybe something like that happened. Or maybe it was just typical shit writing from Chambers and Goldberg, who knows. Also in Fear Season 7 Episode 8, Alicia is bitten by a walker and she cuts off the arm, she gets her arm amputated. 2 to 3 months later, I believe it is, she says that the infection is still in her and killing her, and this is unprecedented in the Walking Dead universe. You don't have the infection from the walker months after and you're still dying from it. It's not in your body for that long. That's never been something that's happened in the Walking Dead universe prior. When I reviewed this episode of Fear the Walking Dead, I said that there were likely 2 options as to what was going on with Alicia. The first being that she's immune and, or she's able to resist the walker infection longer and eventually she'll get over it. Or option 2 is that she's just wrong and she doesn't have an infection in her. It's something else that's making her ill, and she's just plain wrong about it, or just doesn't know what is actually causing her illness. But it may be now that there's a third option at play. Maybe Alicia is infected with a variant version of the disease, or maybe Chambers and Goldberg are just making it up as they go along. Who knows? But there could be something to it. There could be something more to it than I initially thought. I was very critical of Season 7 Episode 8 when I reviewed it, and I stand by that. I think that episode is absolutely horrible and I just can't stand it. But perhaps this is the reason for Alicia's odd behaviour. Perhaps it is something to do with the Well Beyond end credits. But I don't know. Then again, if that is the case, I'm not really a fan of having to watch one show to have to understand another show. I don't really like that, because I don't think many people watch the Well Beyond at all. So you can't blame people for not putting 2 and 2 together. And you can't blame people for just, thinking it's bad writing, because Fear the Walking Dead has had bad writing all season. So you can't really blame people for not for reacting the way they did, basically. Also, I mentioned earlier how the dude who killed the scientist said that it's all your fault. Everything that happens is your fault. And that's kind of a vague statement that can be taken either way. You know, you can look at that as saying it's all your fault. You're the one who caused the entire Walker outbreak in the first place. Or more likely, it's all your fault. You were trying to correct the Walker disease and trying to, you know, solve things and find a cure, and you've just made these stronger Walkers. And I think that's the more likely option, because I'm pretty sure that Jenner mentions, oh, it's a good idea, you know, your experiment's trying to restart the heart. Or he mentions what they're trying to do to cure it or something. So I think what happened in France is that they tried to cure the Walker outbreak. They tried to create a cure for the Walkers, and instead they've just made an even worse version of the disease of the Walker virus. I've also seen some people online say that having a show in Europe may pave the way for Rick Grimes' brother to join the show, because there's a one-off comic, I believe, called The Alien, which features his brother set in Spain. I haven't read it, I really need to, but yeah, who knows, that could be a possibility. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Well Beyond's end credit scene and my thoughts on the Walking Dead universe as a whole. You know, I am excited to see where it goes next, because it's completely unexpected. I didn't see this coming. I mean, every time The Walking Dead has hinted at Walkers evolving, it's always just been like a cover for something else, you know? I mean, as recently as season 11 of The Walking Dead, we had the Connie episode where we had what I thought were a different type of Walkers at first, but no, it just turns out they're crazy people. The Walking Dead has been so resistant to change it up, so resistant, so reticent to the idea of introducing new Walkers, and I can't believe that now that they've finally done it. So it's unexpected, you know, it's nothing that we've seen in the comics before. It is exciting, but, you know, on the other hand, part of me does think that will this then make, you know, what the characters suffered in The Walking Dead, will it make it, in comparison, seem a bit... Will we look back at it and think, oh, these characters were really useless? Because if we have a show set in Europe where characters are fighting strong Walkers, fast Walkers, and then you go back to The Walking Dead and you see characters dying, you know, from these slow, dumb Walkers, you might think, these characters are a bit dumb. You know, it might make The Walking Dead in retrospect look worse. I hope that isn't a side effect of it, you know. I hope we don't look back at The Walking Dead and go, these characters have to deal with slow Walkers. What a bunch of pussies. You know, I hope that's not what happens in the future because of it. But anyway, we shall see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think, you know, how is this going to impact the Walking Dead universe? What do you think about the end credit scene? You know, do you think it is linked to Fear the Walking Dead perhaps as well? And yeah, are you excited for it? Or do you just think it's, you know, a move on AMC's part just to get more money and to get people still watching The Walking Dead? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below, and I shall see you all very soon. Take care, goodbye.